Hello all, this is Ankita and today we are going to talk about the Scriblerus Club. The Scriblerus Club was early 18th century literary club formed around 1713 and 1714 in London. तो जो हमारा Scriblerus Club है वो 18th century में फॉर्म हुआ था कहाँ पर? लंदन में in the year 1713 and 1714 and it is a literary club. Okay, it was a group of leading Tories, like the Kit Kat Club was a group of leading Whig writers. In the same way, the Scriblerus Club was a group of leading Tory writers who were satirical in purpose. Their purpose was satirical. Their style of writing was satirical. The group was formed to attack false learning, pedantry, and intellectual pretension. What was the purpose of the Scriblerus Club? कि जो भी लोग false चीज़ें preach out कर रहे हैं या दिखा रहे हैं कि वो intelligent हैं पर वो intelligent नहीं हैं, मतलब they were using satirical way to attack things that were wrong, which were pretentious. The club created a fictional character named Martin Scriblerus. एक क्लब ने एक fictional character create किया जिसका नाम था Martin Scriblerus. Through him, they mocked bad scholarship and contemporary absurdities. इस character के through उन्होंने stories create करके या different things create करके उन्होंने bad scholarship को और contemporary absurdities को attack किया और कहा कि ये गलत हैं. The club emerged during the Augustan period, a period emphasized on classical order, reason, satire, political rivalry between the Whigs and the Tories. तो हमारा ये जो Scriblerus Club है या फिर जो हमारा Kit Kat Club है, ये दोनों ही club Augustan age के टाइम पे आए थे और Augustan age is an age that is said to have emphasized on the classical order, on reason, on satire, on political rivalry. इस टाइम पे दो parties थी majorly, Whigs और Tories. Right? So Whig oriented was the Kit Kat Club, Tory oriented was the Scriblerus Club. It was a time of Queen Anne's reign. Party conflict and debate over classical learning and modernity was happening during that period. Major members of the Scriblerus Club were some of the great satirists of English literature, and one of them is Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope is said to be the master of heroic couplet, author of the Dunciad. So one of the major members of this group was Alexander Pope, and he is said to be the master of the style of writing. The second is Jonathan Swift, author of Gulliver Travels, which is a book which is famous for political and social satire. The third one was John Arthur Bernot, credited with developing, and it is this character, John Arbuthnot, who is credited with developing Martin Scriblerus character. And the fourth one is John Gay, who is the author of Beggar's Opera. So we have four major members in the Scriblerus Club: Alexander Pope, Jonathan Swift, John Arthur Bernot, and John Gay. And it is John Arthur Bernot who is said to be credited with the development of the character of Martin Scriblerus. Now, what is the aim of the Scriblerus Club? The club aimed to satirize false scholarship, pedantry, scientific absurdities, literary mediocrity and intellectual arrogance. ये सारी चीज़ों को satirize करने के लिए हमारा Scriblerus Club बना था. False scholarship को, pedantry को, scientific absurdities को, literary mediocrity को और intellectual arrogance को. They targeted the moderns in debate between ancient and moderns. ये लोग moderns को target कर रहे थे when there was a debate between ancients and moderns. Their satire defended classical standards of taste and learning. इन्होंने ancients को support किया. क्यों? क्योंकि this was a Augustan time period और हम लोग यहाँ पे reason, classical order, ये सब चीज़ें हमारे लिए बहुत important थी during the Augustan period. So we were supporting the ancients during the Augustan age. Now, what is the Scriblerian project? Scriblerian project is a group created the character Martin Scriblerus, who represented foolish learning, absurd academic ambitions and blind imitation of knowledge. ये character था जो कि foolish learning की तरफ दिखाता था कैसे इसके एब्सर्ड एकेडमिक एम्बिशंस हैं, कैसे ये ब्लाइंड इमिटेट कर रहा है किसी फॉर्म ऑफ नॉलेज को, पर ये एक सटायरिकल वे था इन चीज़ों को अटैक करने का. दिस वॉज अ सटायरिकल वे टू अटैक all of these things. The project influenced the Dunciad. In the Dunciad, Pope attacked dull writers and intellectual decline. The Scriblerian spirit is strong in swift satire as well. So all of our major Scriblerus Club writers, all of them were doing, their main aim was the same thing. Now let us look at the various characteristics of the Scriblerus Club. First is satire. Sharp, ironic, classical satire, targeting society and intellectual life. किस पे टारगेट कर रहा था? सोसाइटी और इंटेलेक्चुअल लाइफ की तरफ टारगेट कर रहा था. The irony was very, very sharp. The second is mock heroic style. It was a style of work which was used by the scribblers. The major writers were Pope's works. The third was defense of classical order. Since this was the period of Augustan age, they believed in order, reason, balance, and classical authority. Now, why was this club important? It strengthened the tradition of satire. It influenced 18th century political writing. It shaped Augustan literary criticism. It contributed to the mock epic tradition, and it defended classical aestheticism against the modern excess. So they were supporting classical aesthetics, right? The ancients they were supporting as compared to the moderns. And satire or mock heroic were very, very important forms of writing of this club. Now let us differentiate between the Kit Kat Club and the Scriblerus Club. So the Kit Kat Club, the major people involved were Whig writers, whereas in the Scriblerus Club it was the Tory writers. In the Kit Kat Club, political networking was something that was important. Here the focus was on the satire. Then again in the Kit Kat Club it promoted Whig ideology, whereas in the Scriblerus Club it was classical standards. It promoted Tory ideology. It encouraged polite culture, whereas it mocked forced learning. It influenced the public opinion, where it criticized the literary mediocrity. It encouraged the growth of coffee house. This Kit Kat Club encouraged the growth of coffee houses culture and influenced the sphere of debate and journalism, whereas the Scriblerus Club strengthened the tradition of satirical literature. I hope the difference between the Kit Kat Club and the Scriblerus Club is clear to you. Now let's also differentiate between the Whig and the Tories, which is also very, very important. The Whig party supported parliamentary power, constitutional monarchy, religious tolerance and commercial interest. तो हमारी जो Whig party थी उसने parliamentary power को, constitutional monarchy को, religious tolerance को और commercial interest को, इन सब चीज़ों को support किया. तो कहीं ना कहीं हमारी जो विग पार्टी है वो नेचर में क्या है? लिबरल है. या नाउ टॉकिंग अबाउट द टॉरीज. द टॉरी पार्टी सपोर्टेड स्ट्रॉन्ग मोनार्की, ट्रेडिशनल सोशल हेरार्की, चर्च ऑफ इंग्लैंड एंड एरिस्टोक्रेटिक लैंड ओनरशिप. इसने मोनार्की को, सोशल हेरार्की को, चर्च ऑफ इंग्लैंड को और एरिस्टोक्रेटिक लैंड ओनर्स को सपोर्ट किया. और कहीं ना कहीं ये पार्टी कॉन्जर्वेटिव है नेचर में. So basic ideologies about the Whigs and the Tories you have now got to know. Now the Whigs supported merchants, urban middle class, industrial interest and the rising commercial class, whereas when we talk about the Tories, they supported the landed aristocracy, the rural gentry, the Church of England and they represented the traditional landed power. ये conservative थे, ये Church of England को support कर रहे थे, social hierarchy को support कर रहे थे. वहीं हमारी Whigs जो थी वो parliament, constitution, religious tolerance इन सब चीज़ों को support कर रही थी. It was giving a move for the rising commercial class. It was supporting the urban middle class. It was supporting the industrial interest. It was secular politics was being played here, but here it was a church-centered politics that was played. Kit Kat Club promoted polite culture and enlightenment ideas, whereas the Scriblerus Club often satirical and politically critical tha. It focused on social manners, moral essays and middle class values, whereas it focused on satire, criticism of society and mock heroic poetry. It is liberal in nature, the Whig party, whereas the Tories are conservative. I hope this idea of the Scriblerus Club, how it is different from the Kit Kat Club, what is the difference between the Whigs and the Tories, the basic ideologies followed by the Whigs and the Tories, the Whigs being liberal and the Tories being conservative, is clear to you. Thank you.